We are recording. So I will call the joint meeting of the Master Plan Advisory Committee and the Planning Board for August 18th, 2022 to order. And first thing is to do a roll call. So here we go. Marcus Phelps, present. David Spina, not here yet. Doug Moglen.
Present.
Randy Brown. David D. Delory.
Here.
Bert Hansen.
I'm here.
Dave McWilliams.
Present.
Norm Cheever.
Here.
Patrick Jubb.
Sir.
Alita De Maria. Amber Bach. Scott Lehman. Dory Boyd. Roz Terry. Jessica Whitmore Parker.
Here.
Dave Masai. Marissa Cook Obregon.
Present. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, thank you. Michael Doherty. Lucas Caron. And Maria Michael.
Here.
Aye. Okay, so we have 9 participants. We have a quorum for the Master Plan Advisory Committee and no quorum for the Planning Board. So we'll move along to public comments and dialogue. I think everybody that's online is a member.
There's one guest.
We have one guest? Okay. No public comment or dialogue. We will go into old business. Next, I'll mention the meeting's being recorded and it will be posted on the town website through the planning board office. And we're doing a Zoom only meeting this evening. So item 3A, old business, status of the community survey responses. Ken Comia. Can you lend us any new information or will?
Yeah, sure. I sent on Monday that John had sent to the committee some numbers that were as of Monday afternoon. And I don't have those readily accessible. I just opened the survey this evening, and this evening, as of 7 o'clock, there are 455 responses. So I think since Monday, like maybe 10. Let me see. So Monday evening or Monday afternoon, more than that. Monday afternoon, you had 424 responses. That was at 1:45. Of those, 1:45 p.m. Of those, 27 of those responses were for those under the age of 30. And of those, 5 under the age of 20. So I guess you did a little better since the last meeting. So you still have, there's the 26% of the respondents as of Monday were 60 to the ages 60 to 69. And I believe, I don't know if John, you were able to map those addresses, but I did not.
Yeah, I think we're okay with the mapping now. I think we sort of saw that on the initial couple rounds of responses that,
That you were doing pretty good as far
Yeah.
as the,
yeah, the spread was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
the
that.
30 cents Monday.
30 cents Monday, plus, I think, John, you said you hadn't gone around and checked the hard copy submissions. I think we were at 14 or something, but we've handed out, I guess, quite a few hard copy survey forms, right?
That's correct. We probably got another, I'm gonna call it 10 hard copies deposited in the boxes. And if I count what's sitting and available to go out, which is probably, less than 20, we've burned through about 200 copies.
So there's 200 hard copy surveys out there, and it sounds like we've gotten maybe 25 back. 14 plus some you said.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. Good. We're coming in on 500 then, probably.
Marcus, do we know how many were done the last time the master plan was done? How many surveys came back? We know, just offhand, I mean, are we doing good compared to the last time?
I'd say we're doing better than last time, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah. Yeah, I think, well, I ran a few numbers. If you take out the younger folks out of the population, I was figuring about 7,600 potential respondents, and doing some math. As of Monday, we were like at 5.8% response. And so we're up probably close to 6 now. And, the more you get, the better it is, obviously. We've got about a week and a half or so to push it. And I guess that'll move us into the next item, 3B, which is what has been done with the survey publicity. The last Southwoods magazine had our quarter page ad in it with a QRL code to go to the survey. And then Marisa had written an article about master plan. So that, of course, magazine, Southwoods, gets wide distribution. And then a week ago, the Penny Saver had pretty much a repeat of our press release, but it was an article in the Penny Saver. And there was a brief news spot. I think it was Channel 3 TV, Western Mass Town to Town. They did a very short news spot with a couple pictures from places in town, I guess you'd say, mentioning the master plan process was underway and that the survey was out, and we're looking for responses. So in addition to that, the article and the ad buy, the malicious digital sign on Feeding Hills Road has been referring to the master plan with the website, and the transfer station sign as you exit on the right-hand side or whatever also has the master plan, reference to the master plan survey and the website. So those are some things I know about. Any other additional information as to what has been done?
Marcus, I don't know who's doing the updates on Facebook, but it seems like there's constantly updates on Facebook, and I think it's fantastic. Just some of the information that's getting posted up there, and so whoever's doing that, kudos to you.
I think that might be Marisa.
Yeah, that is. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, I've been trying to do that on a near daily basis. I mean, for a long time was just picking survey questions out. That seemed to be moderately successful, but I figured to kind of change the pace it might be good to add some just points to consider with photos, and that seems to be gaining traction. I made a call out for younger folks, 30 and under, just to kind of see how that would gain traction, and it actually did. It reached, like, I think it said 1,800 people, and there were a lot of shares on that one when I specifically called out the need to have younger folks in that demographic engage with the survey. So that was just yesterday, and it's still kind of being shared today. So I'll try to do more posts like that, just kind of calling out. I think calls to action are good. People seem to respond to those posts the most and share them the most. So I'll try to do that.
Good. And we did get our lawn signs, 20 lawn signs, which apparently have been picked up by some people because there's 4 left, right, John, in the office?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Ooh, hey,
So,
John, could I have one? Could you put one aside? Put one aside for me?
Sure, we're down to 2 now.
Uh-oh.
down to 2. All right.
I
Oh.
put 3 in front of Town Hall. I also put one by the brewery. I put one in front of Blossoming Acres, and I put one over at the Pioneer Dairy Corner. I was trying to kind of get all cardinal directions in town. And I was hoping that Mr. Lehman would be here tonight, just because I know that there was an agreement at the last meeting to move around those large staked signs. I mean, I think where he has the sign now at the old library is great, but the one that's by Anson Nursery, I think that one should definitely be rotated. So I took one lawn sign to just put there to replace that large one. But I think there had been discussion to maybe moving the one that's there at Anson's to possibly somewhere off the bike trail, or I'm thinking maybe right by the schools. Not sure, but I think it's time to rotate it.
Yeah, I was intending to take the one from the old library tomorrow and move that over to Depot Street and Sheep Pasture intersection. So did you put a lawn sign at the old library?
I did not know.
Okay. Well,
No,
I'll
so that
put-
would be great if you could take
Yeah.
yours and put it there. Yeah.
Yeah, I had 2 here, so I'll put that in place of the large one. And the one down by Anson Nursery, I don't know how the group feels about it, but that's a pretty strategic place.
So it can stay there. It just needs to move in terms of being that close to the fence. They don't want it that close to the fence. They're unhappy about all the other signs that are close to the fence. So they're happy for us to stay there. But they've asked if we can just move it closer to the road, which I think would be better for visibility purposes anyways, because it's kind of getting lost with all of the other signs that are there
Yeah.
that I guess aren't even supposed to be on the fence, but they are. So.
Well, I staked that one in the ground really solid, so,
It was
If
you.
you-
I was trying to move it forward, Marcus.
oh, no, you're not moving that one. No way.
Oh, God.
I had to secure it pretty good because the wind was just really raising Cain with it and, knocking it down. So,
Did you pour it in with cement? I mean,
no.
it was not budging. Okay,
No,
so
no. 2
if
metal
you know the
stakes,
technique for moving it, do you
Oh,
mind
yeah.
moving it forward?
not easy. Yeah, okay. What is has the group, is there a group consensus to keep it there or an idea to put it somewhere else? Any thoughts?
That's a great location. Great location.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah, I think it's good there.
I'll see if I can move it forward. See how that works. Yeah. Okay, let's see. The other thing is, I guess, mentioned Norm Cheever had met with the Citizens Restoring Congamon and used a PowerPoint, which, John, did you send that out? I guess you did send the initial one out, right?
That's right. And I know that Norm made some tweaks to it just the other day.
So did you send the latest version?
But we can go ahead and do that.
Okay, let's do that. And then I had edited slightly the letter. So maybe you want to send the text of that letter, you know, your dear neighbor type letter,
Yeah.
along with the PowerPoint. Norm, did you want to
Well,
add
yes,
anything? Yeah,
I did. First of all, thank you, Marcus, for calling this meeting tonight. I think it's important that we don't satisfy ourselves with mediocrity results. It's time for the full court press to end this in a big bang. There were about 60 people at CRC that heard the presentation. I just used the first slide as the only one that people saw, and then I used the rest of the slides as talking points. There was one question that came up, and it was a Connecticut resident that rents a slip at Saunders for 6 months out of the year. And he asked if he could be allowed to submit. Marcus said he thought he could. And if nobody disagrees, I will ask Michelle Pratt to send that information out to her email process, and maybe we'll get a few more there.
yeah, my thought on that was, it sort of could be stretched, but it's like a person who would be renting an apartment in Southwick. You have to have an address, obviously, to get past whatever question it is, but they could use the marina
Well, yep.
address, yeah. And it's,
Okay.
you know, one submission, so.
Yep.
Probably won't skew the input too much.
Probably not. Then I also penned 3 different letters. One is for my neighborhood that I'm going to hand out to, I don't know, maybe 200 homes sometime late next week. I would encourage, I don't think we've shared that with everybody yet, have we, John?
Not just yet. I think we're looking to discuss that this evening. I can put it up on the screen if you'd like.
Okay.
Is that with the edits? What comes up now will be with the edits I had provided?
That's correct, Marcus.
Okay.
I did make one tweak, but we'll get there in just a moment once this wakes up.
Okay.
Can everybody see that?
If you have 20/40 vision, you can.
Little bigger? Thanks.
Sorry, guys. I
Now it's
There we go.
getting, 20/20, okay.
Oh, geez.
I'll give you a second just to look at that.
I can see.
And Norm, you have 200 neighbors?
Yes.
He lives in that high-rise building.
So if anybody else wants to do the same thing, all they got to do is change their name here and address, and they could easily do the same thing. It's pretty easy to do. Plagiarism is great when it's legal. And I would encourage anybody else to help put the final push on. I was kind of surprised when I looked at a lot of my neighbors on the pin chart that hadn't yet submitted. So I'm going to go forward with this idea. So feel free to copy it and use it if you want. And then I penned 2 other draft letters. One to all Southwick employees. Can we put that one up, John?
This is great, Norm.
Yeah, really.
I will be doing this for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be happy to send these along with that updated PowerPoint, everyone.
You wanted to look at the one for employees?
Yep, cranking it up right now.
Okay.
Oh, boy, let's see.
It's basically the same letter. Okay, it's just changed a few words. Rather than a neighbor, it's the town of Southwick employees. Now this I thought could be handed out at either a team meeting or when paychecks go out. I don't know how frequently town employees get paychecks. But there are quite a few employees that work for the town. If we can get 15-20% of those families to submit a survey, it would be a big help.
You know, I was thinking today, I walked by the public safety area, fire department, police
Right.
department. I guess, are they technically employees, Southwick employee? I mean, it'd be
Believe
good to
so.
get some into there, probably, you know, like to the police chief and the fire chief.
Yep,
If,
yep.
I know the fire department, I think they get together one night a week, I believe,
Okay.
Monday nights.
Monday
Monday
night.
nights?
So is the salutation okay, dear town of Southwick employee? Generic enough? Okay,
And then there's one more letter. And that is to Southwick department leaders. Basically the same letter. Encouraging them at any team meetings they had to please pass on the request from the Master Advisory Committee to take the 25-30 minutes of their valuable time to submit the survey.
So by team leader, are you talking town employee supervisors and managers, or are you talking committee
I-
chairs for boards and committees?
I didn't do one for the committees. I did talk about that last time. This was more for the department heads, managers,
Yeah.
directors, whatever they are.
Easily
Police chief,
adaptable.
fire chief.
John, this one, the text was not edited. I can see that in the first paragraph. And I guess I was wondering if this was kind of redundant to the one that would go to all the employees, if it was sort of a duplication of the same information going out. Mr. Moglen, any opinions? Help us.
I think it's a great idea. And, Norm, thank you for doing it.
Welcome.
I think it should be, I don't have any reason why we couldn't do it for the department heads or town employees, no problem. Payroll is mostly direct deposit these days, so it's not like the old days where they hand out checks.
Okay.
We're gonna have to find a way to distribute them, but, for police and fire, it's probably easier because the building's smaller and everyone's there, but if I can make sure that happens, that it gets distributed at least.
Good. And I see Randy Brown has joined us as a member tonight. So I'll record him in here, and I guess he would be one to get the information to those departments, Department of Public Works folks. The only thing is, John, you'll have to edit this up some, like the other two letters.
Yeah, that's not a problem. We'll get
Yeah.
all three essentially
Yeah.
aligned, and I'll be sure to share those with everyone and making sure to get some of the key departments.
But the ones the employees and the ones the department leader, they'll stay in town hall, and Doug, Randy, and yourself can sort of shepherd those along, get them out.
Yeah,
And then the one that'll go with the PowerPoint to all the committee members would be the
the neighbor.
dear neighbor. Yeah,
You got it.
great. Thank you, Norm. Anything else?
No, thank you very much.
Great. Okay, one quick item. I'm glad Randy is online now. I was thinking, and I don't know if people are interested in doing it, a standout at the transfer station this Saturday or on the 27th to stand by the sign exiting the transfer station. And if we get a lawn sign out there with jog on it, that might attract some attention. So any thoughts on that? I'll let Mr. Brown chime in first, if it's okay to do it.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we
So,
can.
Yeah. All right, so sorry, I was a few minutes late here, but yeah, so that would not be an issue. I would just let the foreman know that's happening, and just make sure that you're standing, at the end of Industrial Road, kind of right by the gated entrance to the facility, and that would be fine.
Yeah, I was thinking of actually standing right by your sign that has it on the backside. The letter, there's a message on that sign as you exit.
So are you looking to talk to people as they exit the facility, or are you just trying to you just want to stand there with a message on a sign?
Good question. I'm thinking we wouldn't talk to people other than to wave and point to the, submit your survey. Any other committee members have thoughts?
Well, people might want to pull over and say, what's all this about?
Yeah, they may want to do that. So
If you
I
do
would-
it right outside the gate, there's that little turnoff area so you can engage people without holding up traffic. I think anybody who's been up there knows that can back up pretty quickly. So if you're outside the gate, there's that little dirt area people can pull in and have conversations.
Yeah, I would second what Dave just said. I think that's probably the better spot, especially if you want to interact with folks or have the opportunity to interact.
So all we'd have with us is the lawn sign, which doesn't really say complete the survey.
We do have some brochures left, Mr. Chairman, and I can always print out some leaflets, the single page leaflets that we use at the art show. I can just update those perhaps with Jog. I'm not sure if Jog was on that at that time, but I
Okay.
can certainly get some of those printed. And that
So
might
I
be
don't know
something to hand out.
how quickly this Saturday comes up. We have one more Saturday. We have the 27th. If you think we need some time to get organized, because it's going to take some people stepping up and saying, yeah, I'll spend 2 hours there. I don't know what's in open, 8 o'clock, Randy, or something on Saturday.
8 to 3:50.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, 9 to 3, I don't know, unless people want to be there at 8 o'clock. But who's available? Who would want to sort of lead it?
And actually, a little tangent, but Fridays are pretty busy at the transfer station too. I try to go on Fridays.
So the busiest days are Saturday and Tuesday afternoons is the busiest time. And usually everyone has their date and time they like to go. So it would be good if you can get a couple of dates. I think you get bigger bang for your buck as opposed to going, say, 2 Saturdays in a row.
Okay.
What we could do is take one of the wooden lawn signs and use it for those times where we have people there. That talks about the survey.
Wooden lawn sign.
One of the bigger ones you're talking about, Norm?
The bigger ones.
Yeah, we have 2 big ones. Okay, so we could, yeah.
That's a great idea because it has the website as well as
Yeah.
context about what it is. It says survey on there. So even if
Yeah.
they don't stop, they'll know kind of what it is. Yeah.
So shall we figure Saturday, the 27th for a Saturday?
Hey, Norm, I'm away Saturday, the 27th, but I'm here this Saturday. And I'll
okay.
go with whatever we have and stand out there and talk for a couple hours. So.
Dave, I'll
I'm-
join you. I'll join you while you're there that time.
Okay. Yeah, what time works for you, Randy?
I would say earlier the better.
You want to
Like
do
nine
8:30?
to be fine. 9 to, yeah.
All right,
8:30,
let's
9.
go from 9 to 11.
Perfect.
Okay, when I take the sign off of the old library, I will bring it to Dave McWilliams' house.
Excellent.
And you
I
guys.
can do
can use-
Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, let me write this down. So on the 20th, it'll be Dave and Randy early. You'll be there from 9 till
Why don't we say 11?
9 to 11. Okay,
Unless someone brings us lunch, then we may stay longer.
yeah. I'm thinking I can get there at 11.
With or without lunch.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
eat early.
You bring lunch, Marcus.
I'll bring my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I'll do 11 to 11, 12, 1. 11 to 1. Can anybody do from 1 to about 3? Or we'll just bail at 1 o'clock. All right. That works. And then the Tuesday coming up, let's see, that's what day? Help me with the date.
The
23rd.
23rd.
23rd. So Tuesday, Randy, what do we do? You open later, right? 11-ish?
They open at 11:30 and they're closed at 7:30.
So Marisa, what, could you do 12 to something?
Yeah, that's fine. I could do 12 to, could probably do like 12 to 2 or 3, and then I do have to go home for a Zoom meeting for work. But I could then pop back over there again around 5 and do maybe 5 to 7.
5 to 7. Oops. Okay, and when I finish up on Saturday, I'll bring the big sign back to my house. So if you want to come by on Tuesday,
Sure.
pick that up. And Tuesday, the 23rd, anybody else out there available?
I probably could one of those times. I'm not sure exactly yet. Earlier or later, but I'll know by tomorrow.
Okay, why don't you communicate with Marisa?
Okay,
Because
I'll
if
send you an
could-
email if that's good.
That's great.
if you could maybe pick up at 2 o'clock. So, we keep somebody there with the sign, so to speak.
Okay,
But you guys communicate, and that'll be good.
We could probably just let the people who aren't at the meeting know about this as well. Maybe some of those people are available. Or we can just
Yeah.
volunteer them since they're not here.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this is Norm. I can do the 27th, Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know what this, do we want to do 27th? I guess if we got somebody who'll do it, we'll do it.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, 8/27. Norm,
How about 9 to 12?
9 to noon, wonderful.
And I can't do these Tuesdays and Saturdays we're talking about, but I could do Friday, the 26th, if that would be helpful. If you think, Randy, are there, I mean, it seems to me that Fridays are relatively busy, but I don't know, Randy, you know better than me.
No, I mean, that is busy. It's just the busiest days are Tuesdays and Saturdays. But certainly you're gonna get people who go every Friday at, 3 o'clock. You know, those are the people that, like I said, everyone's got their own special date and time they like to go for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the more days we can cover, the better.
So I could do a couple hours that day.
26th,
Yeah, well, like say 1 to 3. How about that?
okay. And we'll figure out logistically where that sign's going to be floating around.
Right.
Big sign's going to be very popular. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Oh, okay. That was Bert.
Yes.
Trying to write all this down. I'll put it in an email to John, and then he can send it out to the rest of the folks that aren't here. See if they want to fill in any blank time slots. Let's see. Well, on Friday, 1 to 3 is going to cover it pretty good, actually. There'd just be a morning slot there, if maybe on Friday. Good. All right, that's great. Great. And of course, 95% of the people that go to the transfer station are residents of Southwick, right, Randy?
Everybody is.
We'll check stickers. We'll check stickers as part of our.
Hopefully 100%.
Yeah.
I'd like to mention, this is a great idea just because Big Y actually did not turn into an option. They considered what we were doing soliciting because it's not an actual ballot question or petition. So yes, we weren't able to get any foothold in there. So this is a nice alternative where I think we can connect with people possibly, or at least make eye contact. So good suggestion.
Yep. Okay, let's see, did I have anything else? Can't think of anything else right now on the signs. The only other thing left, I guess, as far as outreach, was the Code Red. And I don't know if, John, you've had a chance to check any of that out. Apparently there's something, there's 2 ways to send a message. You can do the voice speaking message, or you can do a email type message, text message, or whatever.
That's right. Well, at least in terms of the email one, I'll be working with Jim to send out, we'll call it a little bit of an outreach message awareness through the town's email network for subscribers, right? For people who have opted in, he has the option to send out an announcement. So we'll get that out on the street in the coming days. And as far as Code Red, I apologize, we've had a few folks out of their offices. It appears that there are no barriers that we have to cross, but I'll be coordinating with some key staff members to make that happen.
Yeah,
with your voice, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like, how do I say it? Sort too over the top. As far as
I recall that being the
people-
sensitivity, right?
people reacting negatively to be, why are you calling us about the master plan? I mean, if a road is closed, we care. If the lake is closed because of E. coli, we care, but whatever. I don't know, I'm open to feedback.
Have there been complaints in the past about Code Red or accusations of misuse, I guess? Oh, this isn't an appropriate use for it. I didn't sign up for this kind of notification. What's the track record on it?
I've definitely seen people complaining about the use in forums before, but with that being said, I mean, either way,
I
Randy?
think it's gotten better. I don't think it'd be an issue to do a Code Red call. So there are, when you sign up, there are two options. You can sign up for an emergency call only or a general call. So, I mean, I would consider this a general call, which will probably weed out some people that, you know, just want it for those emergency type calls, you know, like Amber Alert calls or something along those lines. So I would think a general code red call would be more than sufficient.
That's a good
Okay.
point.
Very good. I haven't been around the system, so. Anyway, John, you hear that, so I guess we'll keep proceeding and try to do it next week, either Monday or Tuesday. Something in
And
that.
I do send out a fair amount of code red calls, so I can help, you know, you or any of you to set that up. I'd be happy to do that.
Oh, excellent. Maybe we can have a little confab on Monday or Tuesday. Okay, let's see. Guess we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is new business. And I was wondering if Ken could maybe talk a little bit about the design of the community meetings. The key thing is right now we're looking at October 13th, which is a Thursday evening, and October 15th, which is a Saturday morning. And that's when we would have in-person and Zoom hybrid type meeting for our community visioning sessions. They'd both be the same agenda or whatever menu format. And so Ken, could you share a little bit about what you try to do and hopefully maybe give us an idea of time? I was thinking 2 hours, but I don't know what your time frame usually runs.
Yeah, so thanks, Marcus. Typically, a visioning / community meeting is 2 hours tops. Anything past that, even in person, definitely it's pushing it if you're virtual. But I think 2 hours tops that's pretty good. What I had imagined for this particular community meeting would be a summary of what a master plan is. And I would be presenting that. We'll figure out logistics as the committee wants a hybrid meeting. I have never put together a hybrid meeting, so this is going to be new to me.
I thought you did something in this Long Meadow. No.
No, those were virtual. There was we didn't meet at all in person for East Long Meadow or Blandford. What I had imagined, and I think this committee, based on the conversations that you were having at previous meetings, is that you have the owl, you have maybe some sort of camera setup where we would have myself have a laptop where I could be presenting both what would be on the screen and what would be shared with those watching virtually. I started to think about this, and luckily I have about a month to play around with how that's going to work. But that's what I had imagined. It would probably be a PowerPoint presentation that included census data as well as survey data, because by then we will have had some survey results, as well as something that I like to say, it's like getting to know the community, probably at the next meeting or through an email that I'll send to John, is getting fun facts, creating a sheet of fun facts for the presentation. I would have boards up for the in-person component. I will have some PVPC staff to also help in the background with the virtual component. But the in-person engagement would include mapping exercise, as well as just talking through some questions about issues and opportunities, doing a quick SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. And doing that with whoever's in person, as well as what we can gauge from the public that's virtual. We would try to do in-person polling as well as virtual. It's easier virtually because Zoom allows you to do that. We'll figure out how to deal with the in-person polling while Zoom is also polling. That's probably going to be one of the hardest challenges, is to do concurrent polling like that. And I haven't yet thought. It might just be using a separate software that I'm familiar with called Poll EV, where we would ask those in the room to also use smartphones, and if not, we would figure out how to get the responses for those in person up on the screen. But it's going to be, it's going to be live, it's going to be virtual. It's going to be something that will be utilized for myself in the future as I work with other communities, because I think this is, you're one of the communities that is opting to do in the Pioneer Valley, at least through community comprehensive planning and master planning, that is doing a hybrid model. So that's great. And I'm happy to work through any sort of comments that you may have as we start thinking. Obviously, my goal is to get all of the survey data collected, put into a palatable document, as well as start providing for you some of the initial data sets that PVPC teams are putting together with regards to demographics and some mapping that will be utilized for the community meeting. But that's what I had imagined, is that it's going to be a mixture of both presentation form to talk about what a community meeting is, as well as exercises, and then coming up with visioning language, which obviously, because we have 2 sessions, we're have to figure out how to get that visioning language out to the public once we've collected what we needed to, and maybe it will be through the master plan committee, the advisory committee, and we'll work through that language. But yeah, that's what I had imagined for the community meetings in October.
Okay, I see Marissa, hand up.
Yes, thanks. Just a couple questions. Thank you, Ken, for giving us that outline. My first question, now kind of understanding the format that would exist between in person and on Zoom, this hybrid model that you're discussing. My understanding was that kind of the idea of doing this community meeting, we're doing 2 of them, would really be to kind of get people engaged. You had mentioned bringing food, refreshments, making it as enticing as possible for people to kind of engage in person, and then just kind of have discussions with each other, see other folks in town, as well as participate in this meeting. Realistically, do you think we'll be able to do that in person and at the same time get the same quality and quantity of responses and engagement by doing it simultaneously virtually? It just seems like a lot of pieces at the same time. I'm fascinated by the novelty of it, I have to say, kind of doing the hybrid model, but for the purposes of what we're looking to get from these community meetings, is there any chance in your mind you feel where one could detract from the other and we're not going to necessarily get what we're looking for, that deeper level engagement?
Yeah, that's a great question, Marissa. And that's something that has crossed my mind as far as the hybrid model for this type of engagement. Obviously, it works when you're in a planning board meeting or having these types of discussions where there seems to be an agenda that is more, you're receptive, you're receiving information. So it may be more difficult to, have those conversations if you're like having to do breakout tables or anything like that. you know, as far as the engagement, I've been only familiar with the in-person stuff because that's what we did prior to COVID. And so I don't know, to be honest, and there, the community that have been doing, from, you know, my conversation with a consultant that's doing work out in Eastern Mass, that they were having in-person recording, you know, having it recorded and provided for the public to watch, but there was, it was very limited as far as the participation of those watching online. So I think, you know, it's something that we can work through as a committee. If there is another option, could be one is virtual, one is in person. If that's something that, you know, it could be of interest. I do think, obviously, having food and drink as something to bring folks to the in-person engagement should be probably done. But yeah, I think that it definitely is a big question mark as to how to best engage. I do think that we can, but I don't, you know, we'll see. I can't give you an answer better than that, Marissa.
Thank you for answering that. I mean, you know, in this world that we're living in now, a lot of us working from home, kind of doing the mixed model. I know a lot of companies, including mine, would still ask that we go in person for kind of summit events and meetings, and they ask people to fly in, you know, from anywhere where they're at now, because it's so critical to kind of have these deeper conversations in person. We do the mixed hybrid model for mid-level meetings at work, but when it kind of comes to really trying to get engagement and gauge where we're at as a company, I mean, at this point, 2 years on, we have found that in person, kind of getting people to come in is really the most productive. So I would just take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, this is different, but in terms of trying to get the most we can out of this and the amount of resources and time that you would be spending in kind of planning the hybrid model, I would just ask that we maybe consider that. And I think that idea, maybe one hybrid, or rather one in person, one in Zoom, might just be easier in terms of navigating the meeting that same day. I don't even know how we would kind of jump back and forth. You're saying your team, PVPC, would kind of be in charge of navigating the in-person and Zoom audience?
Yeah, I've identified people on the team that could be present, that I am confident that they know how to navigate Zoom rooms. I would also, as usually the case in working with committees, if there are people within the committee, the Master Plan Advisory Committee, that are comfortable with technology and sharing screens and doing things like that, that's something that I would also invite. I usually like to prepare, you know, and as we get closer to that date, there will be opportunities for those to volunteer their efforts in either additional facilitation or like you all are planning to talk about the survey efforts at the transfer station, among other places, and that you do out in the public. You're the public face of the survey, that, you know, that people that may not necessarily be comfortable talking in person, seeing your faces, talk to them about asking the same questions that I have planned. That could be helpful for the engagement component. But yeah, I think there's going to be a mixture of both PVPC staff that will be present, as well as the committee.
Okay, good discussion there. I can see the September meeting, we spend a little more time on it. And one thing, Ken, I'll mention, we have our unpaid consultant, Corey Rowland. I would suggest you maybe touch base with her and kind of go over what you're thinking about. And, you know, she may have some experience in the hybrids type of thing. Because I guess in September, we really should decide, are we going to have the two meetings be copies of each other, duplicate format, or do we make one hybrid and one in person? Or maybe we do both of them in person only. We can do that and not do the hybrid. And you're thinking about doing some kind of breakout groups, which is, again, going to be challenging if we use the hybrid model with virtual. I think, Doug, we have like what, 3 rooms or something that are available with the technology? Doug's muted. Whoop. There you
Yeah, I
go.
think so. Yeah, we have 3 rooms. Plus
In
the
addition,
auditorium.
go ahead.
3 rooms plus the auditorium.
Okay. So we have 4 that have the capabilities of doing virtual work. Okay. Anyway, some stuff to think about, but I think Corey, may be able to add some to it, and maybe she has some other ideas about how to engage people. Finally, on that, some of the community meeting stuff, I did talk to Barbara Westcott, who I had met through the 250th anniversary committee, and she's willing to organize the child care aspect. We can use the community center on the lower level for whatever child care there would be. I mean, I don't know if there'd be a large number of adults that have children that would like to come to the meeting, but they, need some place for the children to be. So anyway, she's going to reach out to the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and high schoolers. Maria, you may be listening to this. High schoolers to sort of staff out that child care, and depending how our meetings come out, that would be for a Thursday evening, which would be the 13th of October, and then a Saturday morning. And anyway, that would be kind of the situation there. And we'll, get some crafts or whatever food, snacks and stuff that could be provided down there at the community center. But Barb Westcott is sort of the contact on that at this point. So that's that. Any other comments on the community visioning meetings?
That's great to offer the childcare. I mean, as you're saying, we don't know who might take advantage, but I think it's really a good idea to offer that.
Yeah, if we can eliminate any barriers possible for people not wanting to participate, I guess. And we will lure them in with excellent food. I'm sure we'll figure something out, right, John? We have some gift account money.
I like food.
Yeah. John will make up the menu for us and whatever. So the only
general
other
question, Mr. Chairman, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
A general question that I kind of posed to the group and to Ken as well, just for my own understanding. I guess the conversation, the output that we learn from these community meetings, these focus groups, visioning sessions, how does that figure into our, I guess, consideration when building the master plan? Are the things that we learn at these meetings going to carry the same weight in terms of data points as the results of the survey? How does it all feed into the master plan?
I'm happy to answer that. Yeah, so in addition to obviously the demographic, the census data, the research that the team is putting together regarding your other community plans, identifying strategies that have been listed in those plans, seeing where we are, asking those types of questions at our focus groups, at our community meetings as to whether or not those strategies still are appropriate. it is, I think it's doubly weighted, depending on, obviously, you have your survey results, which hopefully will, be over the 500 goal, which I think we're definitely going to meet. But at the same time, the in-person engagement, I think, is a very important tool to understand the sentiment of your neighbors. So we're going to document that. It'll be on camera. If it's a focus group that we are going to convene over Zoom, we'll record them. They can be posted accordingly. We can also at the community meetings themselves figure out how to document those, but we'll be taking notes. The team will be taking notes. The facilitators, if that includes some of the committee members as well as PVPC staff, will be there identifying things that come out of the residents, what they want to get out during those questions, as well as some mapping exercises, which will identify areas of town that could be helpful for the context of the conversation. If there are specific targeted areas to develop, preserve, do something, that all of that will help the committee prepare strategies to inform the plan and be something to start implementing as soon as it's complete.
Gotcha. So it sounds like it's nearly as equal or as important in terms of the survey answers as far as data points and kind of metrics and just qualitative and quantitative stuff. And I asked that just because I really am concerned about the fact that we're not hitting a lower age demographic with the survey, and I get the reasons why. And obviously we have the deadline of the 31st. We discussed going into the first week of school potentially. It sounded like that maybe wouldn't yield the results that we're looking for anyways. And at the last meeting, we had discussed the possibility of using one of these focus groups as one where we would kind of try to target younger folks. So if we were to do that, I'm just wondering if that would be worthwhile, if we'd get a return on our investment in terms of the data points that emerge from that being considered alongside the survey results from this summer. And it sounds like it would be from what you're explaining.
Yeah, I mean, the focus groups, as we did in other communities, we had obviously the sections of the elements of the plan that we had targeted either town staff or those that are very informed regarding things like housing, economic development, and have those targeted focus groups. But we also identified that although the East Long Meadow data did have a lot more youth involved, we also we went to the high school and did some engagement there. So, we collected qualitative data that came from there. It's in the plan. There were some strategies that were identified that came from that engagement that the committee felt was important. And so, yeah, I think that there's an opportunity definitely to hear all voices. The focus groups, there are going to be a total of 6. We'll figure out how those are done and which groups we want to reach. But I think that, yeah, I think both the quantitative and the qualitative data sets and data that's collected is very important to include.
That's great. That's great to know that the survey isn't our last opportunity to keep getting data, and that these focus groups could even maybe suggest other ways to get data. The high school example that you mentioned is fabulous. So that gives me hope that we can hit the the under 20s even. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that leads right into the second item under new business, which is the design of focus groups. I think that's where I would have cut it off on the agenda because the visioning is in the first item. So the focus groups, which will come out of, like Ken said, the basic components of the master plan. And I certainly would like to see something directed at the high school level, like 20 and less age group, teens to 20 or maybe teens 16 to 19 or 14 to 19. I think it'd be a worthwhile focus group to have. And that discussion would be a little different than if they were mixed in with the adult and, young adults and older adults. So I don't know if you want to, probably don't need to say a whole much more about the focus groups. I'm thinking those will happen in November, probably.
No, yeah, I imagine November, early December, right before the holidays. All of that engagement happening right before the holidays. I think that, as we mentioned in previous meetings, it could be a mixture of both in person and during the day and virtual. So it's possible that for the elements, for the subjects, that we could meet virtually. And those meetings can be scheduled throughout a week. Or what I've done in the past is come to town hall and spend the entire day there. And then we have literally back to back focus groups during the day, which is something that can happen too. And then we maybe save the other two for very targeted, either youth, maybe some of the older adults, having some engagement at the senior center, depending on how the engagement happens during the community meetings. But I think that those are very they're easier to plan, the focus groups.
Yeah. And I think
you'll identify the people that you'll want to attend those.
Yeah. And those will evolve as we move forward with the visioning. And it'll come out, is there some area that we need in Southwick we need to focus on? And so we have a focus group on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments? I'm going to go under routine business. Any other comments from committee members here?
I just have one, Marcus.
Yeah.
It struck me while we were talking about this with the age group, the younger age group still tracking low. And I saw Maria Michael on the line as well. I don't know if there's any other alternative social media that we should be using to promote this more. Because I read a story just this past week that the under 25 crowd has completely ditched Facebook and they don't do Facebook. So they don't see it. And I don't know, maybe the signs will help. I don't know. But I was just curious for some thought from, someone like Maria or anyone else for that matter on that. Because from what I hear, younger folks just not using Facebook.
I know I don't use Facebook, and I don't know a lot of friends my age who do. I think Instagram is a good place to get a lot of people my age. I don't know if we have some accounts that we could use, some town accounts. I know we have a school one. I think that would be a good one to use too.
Yeah, that's appreciated information. Do we have a way to plug into the school?
Mr. Jubb?
If there's systems, Patrick Jubb, are there some email systems, or as Maria's saying, this Instagram?
Yeah. So ironically, offline, John and I were whispering to each other that.
Well, okay.
I was going to, we have a retreat and a meeting next week. School committee does. And I was going to ask that the school, our executive secretary under Jennifer Willard, maybe send a mass email out to the families and hope to get the children's attention. I don't want to ask if we can extend this survey one more week. I won't do that. I'm not that guy, but I'm thinking with school starting September 1, even 3 or 4 days extra might help. And then, without speaking out of turn and not having permission, I need to speak to Amy McLaughlin and see, what we can do within the school to send and, deliver messages out to the student body.
Okay, I think that's great. And I don't know if anything could go out through a system, before the 1st of September, but.
So we do have, to Maria's point, we do have Instagram and also Facebook, and I get it's an older generation type platform. So Amy McLaughlin is in charge of the Instagram and Facebook page, and she sets it up, basically automated to deliver whatever message early in the morning. So I can certainly ask her to put something up on Instagram.
Okay, and John can provide you, with whatever text. You've got the postcard that went to the residences, and we've got a couple other pieces there that you could, get text from, or someone can use. Pull out the text. Maybe you run it by Maria to see if, younger people would react to it.
Yeah, I
And-
can scan whatever information.
Yeah, we certainly want jog, right? We want to show jog somewhere.
Right. I can scan and upload and then, send and help Amy deliver the message.
Great.
Hey, Marcus, I just was going back and forth with my son, and he shared via Instagram the link to the Southwick 2040 page on his story with his friend group on Instagram. I would just suggest anybody that's on this call that has kids in that age group, just have that conversation with them. Let it come from them. Maybe it seems a little bit cooler than it would if it was coming from the school or one of us for sure.
Yeah.
But talk them up and let them lead the charge amongst their peer group.
Like that.
That's a great idea, Dave.
All right. Any other comments?
Randy?
Yeah, Marcus, this is Randy.
Yes.
So I want to just let the board, committee know, there's on Monday, the select board meeting, there's an item regarding a feasibility study for the Hudson Drive to Sam West Road connector. I thought might be of interest to the committee. So over a year ago, we applied for a mass development grant to look at the feasibility of looping Hudson Drive to Sam West Road and how that might promote economic development in the industrial park. So that feasibility study is complete, and then we're going to report that finding to the select board on Monday. So if you're interested, join in on that discussion. We looked at two of the larger parcels in the area. The biggest one being the Tilcon parcel, which is at the end of end of Hudson Drive. And they've been mining gravel there for probably, I would say, several decades. And they're close to completing that operation. So there's certainly potential for economic development in that industrial park. So I thought it might be of interest to the committee members as we move forward with this process.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes. And Ken had his hand up. Yes.
Yeah, just quickly, I think to piggyback on the conversations about Instagram and TikTok, which I've shared with the committee in the past. When we did the engagement in East Long Meadow for the high schoolers, they did something that they did a PSA. They talked about what a master plan is, and that was part of the conversation, and we got some input that way. That was happening concurrently while we were having these conversations with the community. So I think that there is an opportunity if there are, two well-spoken high schoolers, maybe on your committee, that could do a small video talking about what a master plan is and what it means and why it's important. And that could at least be something that may be shared on the Facebook page, the Southwick 2040 Facebook page, as well as in social media elsewhere. But I think videos, images, definitely, those are the things that will get the attention.
And that would take us beyond the survey, but it would also maybe stimulate participation in the community visioning workshops.
For sure.
It'd be good if we had a youth turnout for those either Thursday night or Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, folks.
Marcus, I'm sorry, Marcus, I gotta jump in right there. Kind of on a similar note to a number of points that everybody has touched upon. I do have just a note or two from Dory, who regrets that she wasn't able to attend tonight. But as we're talking about better ways to engage youth, her note just mentioned, were we to have extended the survey timeframe, she was hoping we were able to work through our high school connections to get through to the AP government and history teachers to try to get participation from the students in those classes. I think that dovetails well with some of the visioning efforts and participation that we have coming up in the coming months. I just wanted to share that with the group.
All
Thank you,
right.
Mr. Chair.
We'll see everybody at the transfer station, or if not, we'll see you on September 8th. We're going to have another meeting, and this next one will be hybrid for those who like to journey to town hall. And anyway, appreciate the participation. Awesome stuff.
Randy
Thanks,
and I
Bob.
will work on a dance routine on Saturday for TikTok, so.
Wow,
Okay.
man. Excellent.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Woo.
Good meeting, Marcus. Good
All right,
meeting.
take care, guys.
Thank you. Good
Take
night.
care all.
Bye-bye.
Sorry.
I know.